Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to make a start. I'd like to welcome everybody to this meeting of the East Lindsey Planning Committee. I'd like to welcome Councillor Yarsley, who is acting as substitute today. Delighted to see her. She's fully trained, as many of you will know, under most circumstances. I'd like to welcome also Andrew Hudson, who is our new tree officer, if that's the right, it probably isn't the right word actually, but anyway. I'd like to welcome him. He's going to give us a few addresses today. It's his first time here. We're terrified of him, so we'll hope to make him welcome and it not be an ordeal for him. Right, the meeting has been, sorry, Councillor Aldridge. I beg your pardon. I realise that was an oversight of the highest order. Welcome as substitute. I'd like to welcome Councillor Ashton as well, who is going to give a report on the Planning Policy Committee, and then he's going to disappear to the other side and speak on a tree matter. I think that's got everybody almost. Well, anyway. We're being live streamed. Mobile phones off, please. No fire drill today. Only those members of the public who are registered to speak can. We've got Councillor Ashton. Anyone retiring, go next door across the thing if you would when you've finished. Right, we'll press on with any apologies for absence, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Apologies received from Councillors Steve McMillan, Sam Kemp and Daniel McNally, and as you've already said, Councillor Terry Aldridge and Rue Yarsley are substituting. Thank you. Any disclosures of interest, please? Yeah, is it Councillor Jones?
Item 6, Chairman, I am Ward Councillor and I'm aware that Councillor Ashton is speaking on that. He's had various discussions with the Parish Council but I haven't taken part in any of those discussions.
Thank you. Drainage Board, please. There's several of us here, I think, in that department. Yes, we're not right in the minutes actually, but it's Drainage Boards. No, well, that doesn't matter. Why not? As anybody else would like to be. Well, I think a blanket declaration is far better as long as we get everybody in it. Are you happy? Yes. Thank you. No further declarations of interest? No. Right. Are you happy with the minutes of the previous meeting? Please, thank you. Invite Councillor Ashton to give us an update on the planning policy, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Just very quickly to inform you that the last meeting of the Planning Policy Committee, we heard from the FEN 2100 project, which is another one of those 2100 schemes alongside the Lincolnshire coast that we've heard from before, and the Humber 2100, looking at the long-term horizon of the Fenland landscape in a world with a changing climate, potentially rising sea levels, and understanding how we make the case to government for keeping that landscape properly protected. And obviously we know the planning constraint that flood risk causes to this district council. Our next meeting coming up in a week or two's time is the meeting itself. The formal meeting has been cancelled, but it's been replaced by a workshop session, which is going to be led by Councillor Ricketts, looking at the potential benefit from greater energy efficiency and green energy generation opportunities. Obviously, we are in an environment where it's incredibly difficult to mandate this stuff, But as I've said on numerous occasions, I think we're moving to a world where it's going to be a lot more important what we're building rather than where we're building it. Again, as we've discussed on numerous occasions, the housing targets that we've got as a district and the inability that we're likely to have to maintain a 5-year supply in that context means that our control over spatial strategy on where stuff is built is going to be less than we'd like it to be.
Very good. Thank you very much. Perfect. Thank you. Could I also point out before we make a start that item 5 on the agenda has been withdrawn. So the one in Louth has gone. It will return, I guess. Right, we'll begin with item 6 then. I'd like to welcome Andrew Hudson, who will lead us through this presentation. It's on the main road at Sibsey. Oh, we have a speaker. We ought to have you first, Tom, I think, did we? No, we're presentation first, sorry. Sorry, I'm confusing you already.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. First one is regarding Sibsey. This report relates to an application under the East Lindsey District Council tree preservation order for Sibsey.
Well done.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah, got it. Thank you. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, this report relates to an application under the East Lindsey District Council tree preservation order for Sibsey 1975. Proposal seeks consent to remove a mixed group of birch, elm and sycamore trees within Area 2 of the order in the grounds of Tregathan House. What you've got in front of you on the plan is the original 1975 order plan, and you can see Area 2 is in the is north of the village. The applicant, supported by their insurer, has submitted a suite of technical reports including soil testing, root analysis and building movement monitoring, which collectively confirm that the neighbouring property, the Laurels, on Main Road, is suffering from clay shrinkage subsidence caused by the roots of these trees. I've zoomed in on the plan just to give you an idea of where Area 2 is. Of the so it's all trees within Area 2 that were made when the that were there when the order was made would be protected. So we've got the Laurels, which is next door, and Tregathan House, which is subject to Area 2. Members may ask how this type of evidence is assessed. The reports are prepared by qualified engineers and arboricultural consultants. Our role is to ensure evidence is credible, consistent and professionally supported before making a recommendation. If any part were unclear, we would seek clarification or further testing before bringing it to committee. We rely on the applicant's professional evidence, but review it critically. If there is any doubt or inconsistency, the council may commission its own independent expert to review before deciding. In this case, the evidence is consistent and credible. Although the trees form part of a pleasant green corridor visible from the A16, they sit well back from the road, so their removal would have very limited visual impact. I'll just go through some photos. So we can see that on the highway there we've got A2. So these are all of the mature trees within the area order of A2. that are directly adjacent to the highway. As we can see here, the subject trees for removal I've outlined here, next to the garage of the adjacent property, the Laurels. So the trees are set quite well back from the highway. There are other trees that are being proposed for removal but aren't included in the order, like the pine trees, for example. When we look at the schedule A2, it says the several trees of sycamore, elm, birch and beech standing in area 2. It doesn't mention pine, so the pine aren't covered by the order. So it's these trees here that are the subject trees for removal. Yeah, so although the trees form part of a pleasant green corridor visible from the A16, they do sit well back from the road, so the removal would have very limited visual impact. Another question that may be asked is whether the trees are older than the building, and if it makes a difference at all. Well, in law it doesn't. The key issue is whether the trees are now directly responsible for the damage, not which came first. And I did take some pictures of the damage. So this, I think, the two at the top are from the garage, and the one at the bottom is from within the dwelling itself. Under planning legislation, if the council refuses consent for works to protected trees, and those trees are later proven to be causing damage, the applicant can claim compensation. In this case, around £63,000 in repair costs. Refusal therefore carries a financial risk to the authority. So on the balance of probabilities, the evidence supports that the trees are causing the damage. I therefore recommend that the application is approved, as removal would not significantly affect the character of the area. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hudson. Now I'd like to offer Councillor Ashton a chance to speak, and he has 5 minutes in which to do so.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'm obliged to speak to you this morning to represent the views of Shipley Parish Council and the local community, who are particularly concerned at the loss of yet more trees in their community, because an insurance company would like to take what I would say is the easy and the cheap way out, to chop some trees down rather than anything more expensive on their part. And I think it's only right that the committee has full opportunity to scrutinise the details of the application and make sure that you're absolutely satisfied that all has been done. I genuinely hear and recognise what Mr. Hodgson is saying, that actually in terms of the context of the trees at this location, simply this would not have perhaps as significant harm as in other parts of the village. I would just draw your attention to the photograph on page 32 of the garage. I would just question whether that garage is falling to bits because of the trees, or because it was poorly built in the first place, with a doorway that appears to have no lintel that's keyed into the wall at the side. It's simply cracked where the doorway is, and had it been built properly in the first place, it wouldn't have cracked. That, however, is only my view, and I'm not a structural engineer, but it looked to be a pretty shoddy piece of work from about 60 years ago. So I would just ask the committee to make sure that should it go down the route of removing this TPO, that it does so having properly assessed all of the other options that might be available, and been satisfied that this is not simply an insurance company taking the easy way out, and threatening the council with £63,000 worth of costs. But I shall leave it in your capable hands to debate it and to come to your conclusions, but recognising, of course, that trees are really valuable to the Siddsey community. As a parish council, they genuinely take their responsibility seriously and would not wish to see any trees lost in this community without the very best of reason for doing so.
Thank you very much. Would any member like to ask our speaker a question? No. Thank you. Councillor Jones to ask a question of our officers, please.
Yeah, I'd like to ask Mr. Hudson, please. Obviously, you're the expert, and we've got to abide by your view on this. Have you visited the site? Now, are you happy in your own mind that this is directly responsible for the damage rather than this shoddy work of the thing? And have you consulted with the insurance experts at the scene?
Yes, I've visited the site. I've met with the applicant, and I've met with the neighbour as well, and just with the evidence that's been provided, the balance of probability is that the trees have caused the damage. I do understand, you know, the council's role isn't to sort of replicate or rerun the technical investigations, but to ensure the evidence submitted is robust, credible, and prepared by appropriately qualified experts, which it has been.
You've spoken to them.
I've been in dialogue with them and to and fro during the application process.
Councillor Knowles, please. Thank you. For the speaker, Councillor Marnock, please.
Actually, I was just going to second Councillor Knowles's
Thank
recommendation. That the report clearly says in the conclusion that, you know, the investigations have confirmed that the cause of property damage is clay, shrinkage, substance, etc., etc. And I think this is one of those times that we listen to the officer and abide by their recommendations.
Thank you. Any further comments from anybody? Thank you. Councillor Yarsley.
You won't be planning if I wasn't saying something. I'd just like to say thank you very much for your report. Just having come off the back of an inquiry, I think when we have technical expertise stating certain things, we need to take them very seriously. I completely agree with Councillor Ashton with regards to removal of trees. We should be not doing that at all. But if the point is that we're going to be paying massive costs because an officer has said there is damage to the property, I think we need to be very mindful and refuse this. Thank you.
Really good. Proposed and seconded for refusal. For taking it down. Approval, sorry. Approval as for, sorry. All those in favour, please shout. Yeah, that's everyone. Thank you. All right, thank you for that. We move on to one at Woodhall now. Item 7, page 35. When you're ready, Mr. Hudson.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, so a provisional tree preservation order was made on the 30th of May this year to protect a single mature Scots pine in the rear garden of 19 Witham Road, Woodhall Spa, next to the Sainsbury's car park. The tree is in good health. Well, just on the plan here, you can see where the T1 is. It's just within the rear garden space and quite close to the car park, Sainsbury's car park. The tree is in good health, structurally sound and visible from the car park, nearby footpaths and from Tattershall Road. It sits within the Woodhall Spa Conservation Area, where it provides greenery and softens the edge of the built environment. The council received a section 211 notice to fell the tree, citing lean and storm damage. However, site inspections by 2 arboricultural officers found the tree to be healthy with a long, useful life expectancy. Let's just get a picture of the tree so you can see it. So when I say two arboricultural officers, obviously, when the order was made, it was before my time in post. So Colin Horton made the order originally, so he will have assessed the tree as well as myself. Amenity assessments under the Halliwell system gave scores of 7 and 5, both above the threshold that justifies protection. So when Colin assessed the tree, he did it from a distance. So he would have estimated some of the data, like the diameter of the trunk of the tree. So that may have been estimated by Colin. So he got a score of 7, whereas when I assessed the tree myself, I met the owner on site, and I got the true readings. So when I did the Halliwell system score, I got a 5, but they're both above the 3, which is the threshold, therefore justifying protection. We have received an objection. The objector argued the tree has limited visibility, poses safety concerns, and does not contribute to the conservation area. I have considered these points carefully. My conclusion is that while visibility is localised, the tree still makes a meaningful contribution to the character of the area. It provides year-round greenery, visual interest, and a green buffer between residential and commercial land uses. No significant health or safety concerns have been identified. In summary, this is a healthy, mature tree with moderate to high amenity value. It enhances the conservation area and is considered worthy of long-term protection. If I just, I'll go through some of the pictures that are in the report. Obviously, this one's from within the Sainsbury's car park. This is looking close to the access to Sainsbury's car park. That's from the other side, looking towards Tattershall Road within the car park. This is from Tattershall Road looking in, so it's clearly visible. There's it's on the road and the footpath. And this is from the rear garden space of the owner's property. So it's quite a long garden. It doesn't sort of affect the dwelling itself. And this is the amenity assessment scoring breakdown. I don't know whether it might be useful, but it goes by size, duration of visibility, importance of position, presence of other trees. It's the Halliwell system, which is a internationally recognised method, and it has been it's a policy within East Lindsey's. It's within East Lindsey's policies that's been adopted.
Okay.
Yes, so the recommendation before members is that the tree preservation order be confirmed and made permanent.
Yep. Would anybody thank you for that. That's a very thorough presentation. Would anybody like to ask Mr. Hudson a question? Councillor Jones, please.
Yeah, I would really, because if you look at page 45 and 44, the damn thing looks as if it's going to fall over any minute. If you look at page 44, is it really safe? It's not exactly the sycamore in the gap, is it? Yeah, and
Sorry,
if we put an order on it, a permanent order on it, is that obviously, how long does that last? Can we review that in a year or two, because the thing looks to me as if it's going to tumble down any minute.
Okay, thank you, councillor Hall.
I am a bit worried about the lean on this one, but as we said before, that we should be trusting our cultural officers. I think the recommendation is that we actually go with the officer's recommendation.
That's a proposal.
That's a
Thank
proposal.
you. Councillor Watson, oh, sorry, councillor Knowles at back, sorry. And thank you. Yeah, that's proposed and seconded. Councillor Watson, please.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Just briefly, I visited the site myself to have a look, well, the Sainsbury's car park actually, to have a look at this tree. It is a fine tree, there's no doubt about it. Should it be removed, it would leave a very unpleasant gap. Woodall Spa is a town, quite an affluent town, where you can't poke a stick without hitting a tree, most of it. And this would leave a real gap. And to me, the lean is barely noticeable when you stood next to it. And it's a substantial tree with a good trunk size and well grounded. I see no problem with it at all, and I support the application.
Thank you. Councillor Cunnington, sorry, I missed you.
No, thank you, Chair. You can't miss me. It's close to a public footpath from the officer's report, and the officer has done a very thorough report. Is there any damage to the footpath that we know of?
Yeah, thank you. It's adjacent to the car park hard standing. And when I visited the site, I could see no visible damage.
Thank you. Go on, Alex Hall.
Sorry. Obviously, you know, I mean, it's the trees in a fine state at the moment, but obviously, as Councillor Jones has said, you know, putting a permanent TPO on it would mean, you know, that it would have that protection long term, and obviously, if in future the tree becomes a bit, you know, in a more dangerous kind of state, what would it be able to come back to committee if that's the case?
I think without a shadow of a doubt, we shall see this again. Councillor Cunnington.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yeah, I'm sure that I understand everybody's comments, but I'm sure that if this tree became a problem, our officer has already said that he's got a set of scoring that he's got to abide by. If this tree fell out of that scoring bracket, I'm sure that he wouldn't even need to come back to committee. He would just authorise removal. It's not a fact that it's.
I think they have to come back here.
Do they?
Right? Does anybody know?
Even if it doesn't meet the scoring.
I don't think.
No.
But there will be a need for an application to authorise any works.
Yep. Did you hear that? There'll be a need for an application to get any work done on it. Okay. Any further comments or observations, Councillor Taylor?
Has it not previously been a permanent problem then?
Temporary.
All right.
It's proposed and seconded to confirm the TPO. All those in favour, please. Those against? Yeah, that's confirmed. But as I said before, I think we shall see this again, or it needs an eye keeping on it. Obviously, I mean, those of us who may lean to the left or the right, but that doesn't mean we want chopping down necessarily, although in some cases, anyway. Right, I'd like to thank Mr. Hudson for his presentations. They've been very thorough and inspire one with confidence. We look forward to seeing him again in the future. And also when we get training, he might address us then to bring us up to speed with TPOs, etc. Okay, thank you very much. When we've had a shuffle round, we'll move on to item 8. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman. Item 8 on the agenda is planning application for extension and alteration to a dwelling at 9 Spa Road, Woodall Spa. The intention is for an extension to the property, the permission sought for, and also implicit that is also the opportunity to increase the number of childcare spaces that the business can accommodate. At present, it's got a mixed use as a dwelling and a day nursery, which is limited by condition on an earlier permission to 24 children, but the extra space would allow them to increase that to accommodate 30. So there's sort of two elements to this. The aerial photo, not the clearest I'm afraid, but the site sits within that sort of red circle. To the north, you've got Coronation Hall, Spa Road, equally running to the north. The Broadway is, sorry, here to the south, and in between you've got the, I think it's an adopted lane that serves the properties to the rear of the properties on Broadway and provides the back, the rear boundary to the properties on Spa Road. So see that clearer by reference to the site plan, red line obviously indicating the application site. The block plan, one on the left, the existing site plan, and on the right, the rear extension that you can see there is in the pinkish colour. So elevations of it, again, rear elevation is the key. It's this area over here. As you look at to the rear, it's on the right hand side there, occupying sort of 2/3 of the width of the property and extending. I think it's approximately 5 metres, I think, but I'll clarify that distance, but extending to the rear there, 5 metres. So a few photos. Looking at the rear of the property, this is the boundary where you'll notice in the report there's a suggestion by our colleagues in environmental health for a condition to provide a new fence, a 2-metre high fence. So that's that boundary. Again, looking, the trees there provide the rear boundary of the site. The fence on the right is the one that we're suggesting would need a condition to increase its height to 2 metres. Those trees at the rear are protected by a preservation order. Again, just another rear elevation straight at the end there. This is the opposite side boundary where there's already a fairly substantial boundary separating it from the neighbour. And obviously you can see the way in which it's been operated using the rear garden at the moment for the day nursery. And again, just a few more photos to show that context really. Neighbouring property to the east. Front of the property, so this is from the entrance to it, so you can see the driveway with the paving, the block paving. Neighbours there to the left hand side as you would look at it from Spa Road. And again, similar sort of property, looking straight at the property, showing the relationship again, showing the car parking area and turning area it's available for use to the front of the existing premises. And that's it, Chairman. Thank you.
Really good. Any questions for our officer, please? Councillor Watson.
Thank you, Chair. This is clearly quite a successful business, and it is in a residential area. I mean, again, I've seen the site. It's what I'd call a leafy lane, but it's curious because it's also adjacent to commercial properties and at the back of it, beyond the trees that we've seen. So it's a bit curious, but the lane itself is essentially quite a quiet character. This business has doubled in numbers, childcare places, or intends to double in numbers in a little more than 12 months. And I'm just a bit curious about what the planning rules are on having a business like this. It clearly is a business in essentially a residential area. We have seen how the objections have grown from just one on a previous application up to 6 or 7 from the neighbours now. So it's clearly not going down too well. And what's to stop this business becoming even larger? At what point do we, as a council, say enough is enough in a residential, what is essentially a residential area? But at the same time, I'm a bit torn because I'm very much in favour of businesses like this starting up and succeeding and doing well. There's clearly a demand for their services.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, in response, I think that absolutely succinctly put, there's a dichotomy here between policies in the local plan, in particularly policy SP14. Drew attention to the officer report at 7.7. That sort of makes commentary on the relevance of that policy. That's one that's aimed at ensuring that the town and village centres within the district are sort of have vitality, they're viable, and it's looking to sort of ensure that they that facilities are built on in those areas and safeguarded. But equally, you have policies, notably SP10 in the local plan, which acknowledges there's a need to protect amenity and also character. So that's the balanced judgment that's needed. This particular property at the moment already has a permission that allows it to accommodate 24 children with conditions that seek to manage that. I mean, I advocate that similar conditions to manage that and require the details to know that the way it was going to operate would be would safeguard amenity, should be imposed. But it is a balanced judgment that's needed. And in terms of any, should permission be granted, in terms of any further intensification, then I'd suggest that any permission would equally have a condition on tying the way of operation, tying the numbers on it. So any further intention to intensify it would refer the planning application. So that could then be considered on its own merits. But it is absolutely a balanced judgment about acknowledging the benefits and the community, broader community benefits, but equally acknowledging the need to safeguard impact on amenity of neighbours and character.
Thank you. Councillor Cunnington.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I've looked at this carefully. The position of the business, not the position, the type of business that I think is the one that's swaying it in where I'm going to go with this. It's in a residential area. Residential means you're going to need children, that's going to need children care. Better off to put it there than down in an industrial estate where nobody can get to. You would like to think a lot of these mothers would be walking to this rather than driving, or there is the option to, should we say. I open it to 30 children, should or could either increase or secure the employment, which is obviously beneficial gain to us as a district. So if we can condition that this will be its last sort of, I don't think we're going to any more than 30, not in the area because it's going to be too big, but some sort of condition to say that we're not going to allow any more.
We'd have to deal with that when it turned up on the fresh application.
But happy to support.
Thank you. Is that support or is it proposal? Or?
Yeah, proposal to support the application.
Yeah. Thank you. Councillor Marner, followed by Councillor Jones.
Thank you. The business started off as a childminding business, which would, by the very nature of a childminder, be in a residential house in a residential area. And parents often choose childminders because they want the more cosy family home. It's now much more than a childminder. You know, she does before, after school, holiday care, full day care. I doubt there'll be any parents walking there because it's aimed at working parents who'll probably be dropping the children off on the way to work. Something that really concerns me, as much as those puppies in the barn concerned me, is we have a condition that says the children are allowed to play outside twice a day for half an hour at a time. Now, some of you may not know, but I'm a recently retired head teacher of a government nursery school. And the early years foundation stage curriculum says children have to have access to outdoors 50% of the time that they're in a setting. So good. I mean, I haven't seen their Ofsted grade. I didn't look it up. But if they're a good setting, if they're an outstanding setting, the children need to be outside far more than half an hour in the morning and half an hour in the afternoon. And I know in the detailed report, the manager owner does say that they take the children out to the woods, but they've got that lovely great big play area at the back. And we are imposing a limit, or somebody's imposed a limit, of 2 lots of half an hour. And had I been in planning when it ever first came, I would have raised that concern there. It's not so much the business being in the area it is, because it seems to be quite spacious and there seems to be enough of, it's the lack of time the children are allowed outside.
Is that planning or is it another authority?
It's it was one of the original, I don't know, Andrew might know the answer to that. It's mentioned all the way through this two lot for 30 minutes, and it's just, it's not.
It would be inspected by, thank you.
It would, but Ofsted haven't imposed those conditions. Somebody imposed those conditions.
Yep.
Chairman, just to clarify, yes, absolutely, those conditions were imposed on the permission that's currently been implemented, the one that allows for the 24 children to be there. Exactly their derivation in terms of exactly where they came from, I'm not entirely sure, but I understand, along with other elements, they were offered, I think, by the applicants at the time, and that was a response, knowing that it accorded with the way in which they wanted to manage and were able to manage the use of the premises. But it was imposed, yes, as a safeguard, I think, to for amenity for neighbours.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's the benefit of experience. Right, Councillor Jones, could you do your mind?
Yeah, well, I'll second Councillor Cunnington for approval. I mean, we're moving from 24 to 30 children, 6 extra ones. It seems to be extremely well managed. It looks very smart and tidy, and I'm sure that it is managed well. There's numerous conditions, and I think they're very thoroughly and well thought out, and I'll approve it with the conditions that are recommended by the officer.
Thank you. Councillor Yarsley.
I'll have to agree. With regards to child minding businesses, and Robert made a good point there, they tend to be in residential areas. And can I just say, this increase in number is not at all surprising. Rugby has had about 3 brand new child minding places, and they are all full. Every single one is full. And I know that, you know, villages need things like these. So I'm very happy to approve it. With regards to the timing, I just wanted to say, many of these childminders take their kids away for the day. They'll do like events outside. So I'm not really bothered about how much time they have outside, because they tend to just get them out because they want them out. But yeah, very happy to approve.
Thank you. Any further speakers? Thank you. Councillor Watson.
Thanks, Chair. If I may just ask a further question of Andrew, would this business be eligible for business rates?
But that's not a planning issue, and it's not a consideration for this committee.
I did wonder about its relevance.
That's how you find out, by asking. Any further comments or observations? I'd just like to make one small observation, if I could, which nobody has mentioned. In a village where the majority of the people are on the pension, dare I say, it seemed to me to be quite refreshing that there's enough young people to fill such an institution. But anyway, that's what we should say. Proposed and seconded for approval. All those in favour, please stick your hands up. Yeah, unanimous, so I'll vote. Yep. Thank you. Right, we move on to a pumping station now. Item 9, page 65. I'd like to welcome Mr. Hyde, who seems to be moving in from the depths. There he is. Somebody got indigestion?
Sorry.
Just Chairman, just a
Yes, we'll,
IT glitch.
yeah,
Need some help.
I think we're okay.
we've got a gentleman at the end who's graced us with his presence all meeting. He's due a good hiding.
Right, we're up and running. Let's get going. Thank you, Chairman. So yes, it's an application for change of use, extension and alterations to a former pumping station on the fringes of Bimbrook Village. What you've got in front of you there is the red line of the site, and you can see the southern tip of Bimbrook in this area here. And you've got Chestnut Farmhouse, which is this property here, and all its grounds. And you can see the site, the access leading through those grounds and towards the pumping station, which is here. So this is the main part of the application site. But you've also got this. There's a separate enclosure a little bit further down the lane, which is also involved with the application. So the main part of the site is this simple sort of building here. You see a photo in the corner there, but there's some more photos later in the presentation. But you can see it's just a simple brick building, flat roof structure enclosed by a chain link fence. A few trees on the boundary, just a simple L-shaped structure. This is the existing plans, so you can see nothing too significant or interesting sort of architectural or historic wise. It's a very functional building, built for a specific need. And then the proposal, say to extend the building, is this main rectangular section here. So it's a small existing building. It's an extension of a similar sort of size, but overall it remains fairly a simple structure. The proposal is to alter the boundary treatment. On the photos you'll have seen it's quite a standard chain link fence. So they propose to do a post and rail fence, back planting with sort of hedging. So a little bit more detail of what's happening within the site. So you can see the parking area at the front of the site. The darker outline is the existing building here. 2 bedrooms within that, the bathroom, and then the extension. This linear section here with a sort of large open sort of covered porch area, sort of kitchen, lounge, diner in here. Again, onto the elevations. The white area is essentially the existing building, and the greyed area is the extension. The solar panels to the roof are proposed. They sit behind the parapet, and they're showing the detail in here. Is a sort of specific, bespoke sort of solar panels that can help achieve sort of electricity at a lower angle than normal. Prepared by the applicant, just to give a bit of context to what's going on, a bit of visualization. So again, this part here is the existing, and the rectangular shape is the extension. Again, these are a few slides prepared by the applicant, but just shown in context. So obviously the edge of the village here, Chestnut Farmhouse and its grounds, and this area here. So the access comes through that site and continues along this little track here. So you've got the main part of the application site here, and then the further bit along the lane is that sort of enclosure there. There's a public footpath, which is this alignment here. So you do have views clearly of that from the most of this path, but you can probably work out the undulation of the land. Sort of views disappear once you're sort of up on this sort of little ridge, I suppose you call it. Again, there's that in a moment. Again, we're still on the photos prepared by the applicant, but this is looking at from the track, see along the lane, looking away from the village, and it's within this sort of cluster here, and the path sort of goes off in this sort of direction, just off camera, if you like. A similar sort of view looking towards the site. It's behind this proposed hedge here. Oh, I went the wrong way there. So once you're up on the track, this is almost a sort of looking down towards the building, and it's here. As I said, we mentioned earlier, the further you walk along the track up the hill, it sort of disappears behind the little ridge here. So this is the main entrance. So we obviously stood in Binbrook. So it's the last property, large house. It's sort of hidden within these grounds. There's an existing access into those grounds, which sort of continues through the private grounds and towards the application site. Oh, I've gone the wrong way again. But looking into the access, so the domestic house is on the left-hand side. The grounds are on the right, and you can see the large buildings, all within domestic use associated with that property. You can see it's gated at the entrance. And again, keep doing that. And then this is looking from the other side. So you pass through the site through this sort of central access. Now I've got the proposed conversion behind me, basically behind the camera. This is looking at the route that would need to go through to access the main part of the site. And obviously facing towards the site, you can see it's a simple farm track leading to the main buildings, which are behind those trees in this sort of area here. So very functional building at the moment, very unassuming, sort of set behind the chain link fence. But the extension would come in the foreground really of here, so all this would be retained. The enclosing wall to mini courtyard would go, but the extension would sit in front of it. And then the little parcel further down the lane, proposal is to take down chain link fence, replace with sort of low post and rail, hedge it, and sort of part of the B&G commitment will go within there. On the supplementary agenda, oh sorry, just one more looking back. So the extension within in this wing here, looking back towards the village. Thank you, Chairman. But just a reminder that there is some commentary on the supplementary agenda from the Lincolnshire Wolds Countryside Service. They've offered a few comments on there. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Any questions of Mr. Hyde, please? Yes, Councillor Watson.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks for the report, Mr. Hyde. The prime issue here to me is the access, really. First question is there a possibility of any alternative access to the proposed development site? There's clearly discontent from the occupier of Chestnut House Farm about this, who claims there is no right of way existing. Is that the actual case? And my whole concern is, how are they going to access this site without creating undue upset?
Do you want?
Yeah, and I'm not aware of any other access. I think there might be a particularly convoluted access, a lot longer, a lot further to travel. I think a third party might mention Birkenshort Farm, but I'm not quite exactly sure what that is. But I know it's a hell of a lot further to a public road than this particular one. So I don't know whether that's a sort of viable option. But in terms of accessing through the third party, yeah, I mean it's a difficult one. It's an unusual one. I believe there is a right of access through that land for the pumping station. So the applicant does have a right of access. There's a question mark of whether that's for any use beyond the site. That to me, that's a bit of a private matter that they would need to address. But there's an overlap with planning in terms of the effect on residential amenity on that person. Some of it as well is will be how they privately arrange that. So if there's a right of access through the land, there's that at the moment. There's an understanding between the owner of that property and the applicant. If they've got a right of access, there's an understanding between them to how they manage that. You know, whether there's, I know it's gated at the moment, whether that third party has keys or, you know, it's the same lock, you know, honestly don't know, but they will have their private arrangement and that will continue whatever use this building is. They may have to manage it differently. But that would essentially be between themselves how they do that.
It's a civil matter.
Yeah, but I think in this case, although there's an overlap with planning in terms of how this proposal would affect that, the residential amenity of Chestnut Farmhouse.
Thank you. Councillor Cunnington.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, on the same sort of lines, really. And unfortunately, my machine has just run out of battery, so I can't look it up. Have we got, or could we put in some sort of condition? Because I think this is the key part, is the access is one of the fairly high bits on the agenda. Could we condition that no development to take place until the civil matter, because it is civil, so it's not for us to get involved with planning, but if we can condition that no development to take place until the civil matter is resolved, that gives us clarity, because it would be a waste and it'd make I'm just looking at it would be a waste and it'd be an eyesore and it would totally go against planning if that was to just be built and then the civil matter not resolved, and then you've got a bigger building, more of an eyesore on the out of settlement development that physically can't be used.
Commercial risk.
Make a mockery of it.
Go on.
As brief comment, and no doubt Mr. Hyde can sort of clarify this if there's other risks to sort of add to it. But I think in essence, the civil issues of the rights of access exist as we understand them for the applicant. Should there be any sort of complications in that or any negotiations that are needed to improve that situation, that's essentially a matter between the two parties. So it's not a matter for this authority as a planning authority to look at that. The planning elements to look at for this in terms of access are its suitability in planning terms and potentially, because of its unusual nature, the implications that has or hasn't got for amenity of the other property and whether that's acceptable. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, what? Finish off then, Councillor Cunnington.
Yeah, that then, because it is a concern. And I'm looking at the future. If that civil matter wasn't resolved, and we've got a house built there, bigger, larger than that, on the edge of settlement development in open countryside in theory, I will propose refusal under SP 10 for character and design of the local area.
Right.
Yeah, sorry, I think ultimately that's probably going to be a wider issue than just building it, because I think the issue of access is going to come in when they look to build it, because if it's an issue getting access now, then they're going to have an issue getting all the materials to build the dwelling down there. So it will need to be resolved, from my mind, in advance of them building it anyway, because they're going to have to get the materials down there to build it.
Thank you. Councillor Alex Hall.
Thank you very much. I think that the current proposal is a massive improvement to its current state. So I would like to propose approval of this application. Thank you.
Thank you. Where are we? Councillor Yarsley, then Councillor Jones.
So Mr. Hyde, actually, I had a question about flooding because it's quite sort of in a dip, isn't there? And I didn't read anything about flooding. Is this in any shape or form that? Also, secondly, I know we've been talking about the access. I find it absolutely bizarre that this is not part and parcel of planning, that we don't have any say on access, etc. You can allow somebody to build something, they can build something there and then not be actually able to get there. But again, this I think should be a highways issue, not a East Lindsey issue. And I agree with Councillor Hall. If they take down that fencing in itself, I think that'll be a massive improvement to that area. So yeah, I would support it, but I would like to know about the flooding, please.
It was a pumping station.
Yeah, Yeah, flooding, I must admit, I'm not aware if there's any known flooding issues on the site. It's not been brought up in any of the correspondence I've received, so I don't think that's been an issue on this particular site. So there's no, it's not particularly addressed in the report, but in terms of sort of fire water and surface water, would be sort of managed in the usual building control process. And just a comment with regard to access, well, it is a planning matter as well, so it's twofold. It's civil and it's planning. So there is a planning context text to be considered in terms of the access through the third party grounds. But on planning grounds, we're saying that relationship is an acceptable one, but there is an element of a planning judgment there.
Access currently, there's access to the pumping station, thus we have assumed it's all right, that access is all right, which is what Andy said earlier.
Yeah, I think in terms of traffic generation, a single domestic property is on the lower end of the scale of, you know, supermarkets or whatever it may
Right.
be. The existing level of access is also low. It's probably lower than a dwelling, but they're both on the low end of the spectrum. So that's, you know, where we're coming with that. They're both low traffic generators, one slightly more than the other, still both low, so hence the recommendation.
You, Councillor Jones.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, as I understand it, you can't have landlocked land anyway, lawfully, so there's got to be some sort of access. It's been used as a pumping station for years. And I agree with Councillor Hall, and I want to second his proposal for approval. It's just betterment. If you frankly look at it, you can hardly see it, let alone it being a problem within the Wolds, because I don't think you can hardly see it from roundabout. But you can't, you know, we need buildings that are sorted out. To be left like a ruin is ridiculous, and so it's got to be betterment. I think we should approve it with the conditions set out by the officers.
Councillor Edgington.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. I would support the application. If you look at the number of conditions that's attached to the proposal, that should cover all the eventualities. So I would support the proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Thank you. Brief, please.
Sorry, very quick. I was just going to say the supplementary agenda actually manages two of my issues. One was the light in, you know, a dark part of the walls, and the second one was the color. I think now they've gone to brick, so that's really good and useful.
Good out. Thank you. Proposed and seconded for approval. It was proposed for refusal, but with no seconder. So it's proposed and seconded for approval, subject to the conditions as outlined. All those in favour of approval, please show. Those against? Okay, that's carried. Thank you all very much for that. Right. Appeals decided you had access to. Councillor Cunnington has been kind enough to point out that I think it's on page 91. The appeal with regard to the puppy farm, which caused you a problem, Councillor Marnock, was upheld. Now, we were upheld. Our decision was upheld, is what I'm trying to spit out. Yes. So, and Councillor Cunnington makes the point that to a large degree was. We made. Oh, sorry. Scrap it all. Scrap it all. No, we haven't read the agenda properly. So anyway, the appeals are there. I thought we'd won one and lost one, so I suppose that's not too bad. Delegated decisions are all in the back there, and the date of the next meeting will be the 4th of December, when you'll all be full of Christmas cheer, I've no doubt. Sorry? Ah, well. There were poppies, so it's promising. Okay, thank you all very much indeed. Nice to see Mr. Mitchell on parade as well.
Chairman, may I please request that we be